Alright, lesson 5.3, we're going to continue solving polynomial equations. The objective is to solve polynomial equations by factoring, so we've done this before, and then we're going to add in how we're going to solve it by graphing. If we look at the essential understanding, we know these two ways to solve a polynomial equation by factoring. So the first thing we're going to do is write the equation in the form p of x equals 0. What that basically means is we're going to get everything on one side of the equal sign, set it equal to 0, and then we're going to factor and then use the zero product property to find the roots. Alright, so if we look at part A, notice that we don't have everything on the same side of the equal sign, so we need to subtract 3x from both sides. And so we're going to get 2x cubed minus 5x squared minus 3x equaling 0. Alright, now what you'll notice is that each of these terms contains an x. So we can factor them out. We can factor out an x. How many x's depends on the smallest power, or the x raised to the smallest power. So in this case it's going to be 1, so we can factor out 1x. So we have the x out in front, and then 2x to the third divided by x will give us 2x squared. Negative 5x squared divided by x is going to be a negative 5x. And then a negative 3x divided by x is a negative 3. And that's equal to 0. Okay? Alright, so now we got to factor this. So we're looking for factors of a times c. So our a is 2 and our c is negative 3. So factors of negative 6 that sum to negative 5. Well, factors of 6, 1 and 6, 2 and 3. We want the factors of negative 6, so one has to be positive, one has to be negative, so we're going to make that 6 negative, because when you add these two together, you're going to get negative 5. Alright, now, what are we going to do next? We take the 1 and we write it over our a, which is 2. And then we take the negative 6 and write it over our a, which is 2. And then let's reduce. So we have 1/2 and we have negative 6 halves. That's negative 3 over 1. Alright, so we're going to rewrite x times, we take that number, pair it with an x, so 2x plus 1, and then 1x minus 3 equal to 0. Okay, so here, so right here, we wrote the equation in the form p of x equals 0. Here we've factored, and now we're going to use the zero product property. We're going to set everything equal to 0, so all three of these factors equal to 0, and we're going to solve. Oops, equals 0, x minus 3 equals 0. Okay, so x equals 0 is a 0. We're going to subtract 1 here, so we're going to get 2x equals negative 1. Divide by 2, so x equals negative 1/2. That's another 0. And then add 3 to both sides, and you're going to get x equals a positive 3. So the three zeros are x equals 0, x equals negative 1/2, and x equals 3. Alright, in part B, we have 3x to the 4th plus 12x squared equals 6x cubed. Okay, now we want to get everything to one side, so subtract 6x cubed. So 3x to the fourth minus 6x cubed plus 12x squared equals 0. Alright, now we want to look to factor out if we can. So we notice that each term has an x in it. So factor out the smallest, the smallest of the three. So it's going to be an x squared that we're going to factor out. Alright, and then divide through each of these by x squared. So we're going to be left with 3x to the fourth divided by x squared is 3x squared. Negative 6x cubed divided by x squared, negative 6x. And then 12x squared divided by x squared is a positive 12. And that equals 0. Okay, now we're going to factor this. So we're looking for factors. Change colors. Factors of a times c, so 3 times 12. So factors of 36 that sum to negative 6. So the factors of 36, 1 and 36, 2 and 18, 3 and 12, 4 and 9, 6 and 6. Now what you'll notice is that there are going to be no factors of positive 36 that will give you a sum of negative 36. Okay, now this doesn't mean that there aren't any solutions. Okay, there still could be. We just wouldn't be able to factor it. So we can do one of two things. We could use the quadratic formula to check, or we're going to graph. Okay, so we're going to turn to our graphing calculator and see if we can identify the solutions. Okay, so we go to desmos.com, desmos.com. Go ahead and hit enter, and then you'll see graphing calculator, a circle with graphing calculator in the middle of it. Hit that, and it takes you to this screen. So we're going to enter in the original equation. So 3x to the fourth minus 6x to the third plus 12x squared. Alright, and so if we go here and click on that point, it says that it's 0, 0. So the only place that this graph crosses the x-axis is at x equals 0. So that's your only solution. Okay, so notice we weren't able to do it we weren't able to get to this answer by factoring. But that doesn't mean it doesn't have any solutions. If that's the case, try the quadratic formula, or easier than the quadratic formula is to graph it and see where it crosses the x-axis, and this is the only point. Okay, so we're going to skip problem 2. I'm not going to worry about that, and we're going to go right to problem 3. So this will be the only example problem left that we'll do. So it says, and for whatever reason on my screen it didn't come in, but we have x cubed plus 5 equals 4x squared plus x. So let's get everything to one side. So subtract 4x squared. So we have x cubed minus 4x squared plus 5 equals x. Let's get the x on the other side. So we have x cubed minus 4x squared minus x plus 5 equals 0. Okay, so we're going to solve this. We're going to find the roots by graphing. We're going to plug this into Desmos and find out where the graph crosses the x-axis. Alright, so we have x to the third. Oops, stop doing that. Minus 4x squared minus x plus 5. Alright, so the zeros or the roots are where this graph crosses the x-axis. So it's going to be here at approximately, let's round to the nearest tenth, so negative 1.1. Alright, we'll write that down. Here at 1.63 or 1.2 if we round. And here at 3.931, so approximately 3.9. Alright, so our zeros are x approximately being negative 1.1, x approximately being 1.2, and x approximately being 3.9. Okay, those are the zeros, those are the roots, those are the x-intercepts. Alright, they all mean the same thing. Okay, and then for part B, we have x cubed equaling 1. Let's subtract 1 from both sides, so we get x cubed minus 1 equals 0. Let's plug that in. Okay, we can see it crosses this point right here at 1, 0. So x equals 1 is your solution for B. Alright, so in example problem 1, we reviewed how to solve these equations by factoring again. And then we also learned in example 3 that another way we can solve is to graph and look where the graph crosses the x-axis, and that would also tell you what the roots or the zeros are. Okay, so it's a lot easier and it's a lot quicker than doing it by hand. So this wraps up 5.3, and I hope it helped.